had just turned 15 years old, and I was about to leave Sierra Leone for the United States. You see, I had been accepted into boarding school, the prestigious Amenhama United World College. I spent that weekend with my grandmother, as was routine. We cooked, I plaited her hair. She told me stories and made me laugh. You see, my grandmother was a very beautiful, sophisticated woman. She was uneducated, but she saved her money to send my mum, her only daughter, to school in Leeds, England. That Saturday, she told me to accompany her to my auntie's house. My auntie had a modern house, beautiful woman. I loved my aunt. Upon arrival, my grandmother told me to go say hello to my aunt in the room. So I walked in, and what happened remains a blur. I remember being pinned down. Two of my aunties held my hands. I was knocked on the floor, my legs stripped open. And my aunt, whom I loved so much, had a blade. I was circumcised. Yes, circumcised. I screamed in agony. I was confused. My grandmother was not in the room. I felt so alone. The more I screamed and screamed, the more they screamed and danced and jubilated. They told me, "You are now a woman." But wait a minute, I was 15 years old. I'm still a child. You know what's ironic? My parents are renowned medical professionals. My father was a doctor, my mom a nurse. And both of them swore that my sister and I will never go through this practice. You see, I watched my father perform free surgeries for women affected by FGM my entire life. But I did go through this practice. You see, many of you have it wrong. You really think you know the face of FGM. It could be any of you in this room. We must stop the cutting. I grew up wanting to be part of the Bunda Secret Society. Yes, I used to watch my cousins tie the wrappers, face painted, as they went through the rites of passage. Wow, I thought it was fun, but nobody, absolutely no one told me of the cutting. We were sworn to secrecy. You see, when you are circumcised, you are sworn to secrecy, and to talk about it is taboo. You shut up. We need to stop the cycle. Well, I had to come face to face with my trauma, and this happened in 2011. I was about to enter the elevator, and my father called me. He's now deceased. I loved my dad. He would be so proud of me now talking about this because he was so against FGM. So he wanted to pray for me. I had renovated his house, and he was happy. So instead of entering the elevator, I told my colleagues bye, and I stepped aside and went to the bathroom. I sat as my father said, "May you never see shame," and prayed for me. You know how hard it is to get daddies on the phone to pray. Mommy's a chatterbox, but daddies are special. When they call you to pray, you stand down. Immediately after I said, "Dad, I have to go back to work," I was the chief of human resources for UNICEF, and I was the most senior HR professional leading the 22 agencies, for sure. I was the chair of the HR network. Immediately after hanging up the phone with my dad, there was this loud blast, boom! A suicide bomber had driven into the building and detonated. What was really sad was I had to watch my colleagues put in body bags, the ones I had just bade farewell. It would have been me in that elevator, in that body bag. You know what was also sad? I could hear the screams of my colleagues screaming as they lost their lives. And guess what? Ooh, that scream was exactly the same scream I made when I was being circumcised. Many of you have dealt with PTSD. We all have our triggers. That was my turning point. There was no more standing down. I needed to talk about it. You see, I started an initiative called Stop the Bly. We must end FGM. There is no place in this decade for the cutting of the girl child. We need to tell our leaders to make laws to criminalize the cutting of women. In Sierra Leone, can you imagine, there is no law that criminalizes the cutting of a girl. We need to replace the sowe bly. Now, let me tell you what the sowe bly is. Since the 1600s, a sowe is who does the cutting, and they will hand over the bly to their daughter. And this is what perpetuates the practice. Well, we need to replace the sowe bly with, guess what? A college education. We need to create hotlines. We need to recruit people like us who are circumcised, because you know what? It's a members-only club. It doesn't happen in the bush. It could happen in the home right next to you. It could be your aunt, your mother, your grandmother. And we need to engage them respectfully, because guess what? We love them. We love them. They are mothers. We love them. But guess what? Most of them want to stop the cutting too. The stigma on FGM is too much. I remember watching the faces of doctors as they examined me and I delivered my kids as if I was not whole. Boyfriends asking me, guess what? Oh, wow. I lived with that. But I know no difference. I was 15, a virgin. I don't have any baseline. We must stop the cutting. My name is Ranya Kargbo. I am a Sierra Leonean. I am a Spelman sister, an American University graduate. I went to the best schools. I am the Regional Human Resources Manager for UNICEF in the MENA region, where I support 20 countries. Part of what I do is to ensure diversity and inclusion and all these nice things we talk about. But I need to change the game. We must end FGM, and I need all of you, not only women, but men, to join the fight. I stand here today, a circumcised woman and a proud African woman.